Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Slickpits, and welcome back to Dive Time Watch Reviews. So, today, of course, it's Saturday morning, and typically I'll be, you guys know I'll do like an unboxing or something like that. Well, today I figured I'm going to change it up some. We'll start talking about some topics on Saturdays and stuff like that too. But I figured I would start today giving you guys a little bit more insight into my life on what watches I'm wearing. Now I've got multiple boxes of watches here and stuff. This is actually what I call the Dirty Dozen. This is the box that sits on my dresser and that I go through on a daily when I'm deciding what I'm going to wear. I've swapped a few out and stuff over the time, but I figured this lineup of 12, I don't have time to go through them all, but I figured I would at least go through this 12 to kind of give you a fun little insight on each one of these, why I have them and how I got them and stuff like that. And yeah, Andy, you don't have permission to rate my watch collection, but here we go. So I'm going to show you the watch that started it all for me. As my stuff kind of went a little funky and backwards, but I'm going to show you the first nice watch that I bought a couple of years ago. I was building my wardrobe and stuff like that, wanting something nice, and so I had been following a YouTuber, internet guy, and he was all about Earnshaw watches. So this is an Earnshaw automatic. It's a skeleton. I can't tell you exactly the model reference number on here. It was their 8006. But it's an automatic movement, and what's funny is when I bought this watch, I got it because, of course, I was thinking, man, the skeleton looks fantastic. I think it's cool. I didn't know about watches. Heck, at that time, I didn't even know what automatic versus quartz was or any of that stuff, and I just thought, oh man, I could wind this thing up. It's really, really neat. It's really pretty. But the funny thing was after I bought this watch, and I bought a second one with it because I wanted something that looked nice for going out with my wife and looking just sharp, and it does. This green leather is fantastic. It's super comfortable. I love this watch, but it wasn't the watch that really got me like hooked on watches. It wasn't the one. Neither one of them were. I liked it. I loved it, and I wore it. Just not knowing more about watches, but my wife loved it and I loved it, and I thought it was really, really cool, and so it's definitely one of my going out pieces. Now, stepping forward though, the watch that did get me completely hooked and is to this day holds this near and dear place in my heart is actually this Timex Expedition Scout. You've noticed I have swapped out the band, I think I had a leather bracelet on there, leather band, but I switched it for this NATO. This watch particularly, I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I had just rode my motorcycle across from Arkansas, and I was wearing an inexpensive $17 Armatron at the time. The battery had died on our trip, and I needed a watch. I was going to be in town for a few days and in Albuquerque, and so my best friend Tuna and we got in the car and we drove all the way around town. I went to multiple places trying to find a watch. What's funny is I even went into like a Dick's Sporting Goods and was like, hey, I need a watch. We don't carry watches. I'm like, nothing. They didn't have a G-Shock. No, nothing in there. I was like, you gotta have something. Nothing. We went to multiple stores and didn't find literally anything, and I ended up going into Walmart. And when I was looking in the cases, this dial on this expedition just hit me, because being a Marine and being a huge fan of history and military field watches and stuff, this dial really just, like I said, the dial is fantastic if you're into that classic style. And I bought it, and it was on sale, $37 for this thing. But I'm hoping my microphone's not causing a bunch of issues. Because of the adventure I went on with my best friend and trying to find a watch, that really is what solidified. Every time I put this thing on, I think about the tuna, and him and I running around, and we laughed and had a great time the entire time. And so this really sparked my huge interest in watches and horology and this creation of these timepieces, and it's fun. Love this thing. We're going to just kind of move on down here. This one right here, this is special to me because this is a mid 1980s gold Seiko. It's a quartz movement. It's got the day and date. That is one of my father's watches. Now, what was great about it, and I've got a few of my dad's watches, and fortunately I still have my father with me and stuff. He's doing great out in Arizona. He was never a collector per se, but he did have some watches over the years, and he gifted me a couple things over Christmas. This one, on the back, it still says ITI 5 years. And of course, it's got a serial number 345063. But the engraving, this is when he had hit 5 years at a company. Like I said, this is probably about 1988-ish that they, gave him a watch. And I know it was always almost a tradition thing with companies over the years. Someone retires, you give them the golden watch. They gave watches. A lot of big companies, businesses, and industries would give you a watch when you've hit certain milestone times and stuff. And I think that's something that should come back, honestly. Somebody retires from your company after 25 years. What's a gold Rolex? What's a nice piece? A nice little pat on the back and a thank you, or someone who works for you for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, to give them a watch, I think is pretty significant. And so I'm pretty happy, and I love wearing this watch. I actually wear this when I'm editing and everything, because it really it connects me to my dad, and my dad's always been a hard worker and focused and an athlete. And so when I wear it, I can hear his voice in my head when I'm working to stay on task and work hard and do right, So that's what I love about that watch. So we're gonna keep moving on. This guy was actually a gift to me from a club brother of mine in the Leathernecks Motorcycle Club. He's a fellow Marine. He actually put this watch together. He built this thing. This watch actually started life. It's kind of a little funky to see that dial on there, but if you look at it, and we just hit that is Mount Suribachi. That is Iwo Jima right there, the United States Marine Corps. The Marines on the dial on there. It's got an NH movement. Excuse me. My buddy who did this, he put the strap on there, changed the dial. I believe he changed movements, but it is really, really awesome to me. It's got a screw down crown. I wear this because it was a gift from Marine to Marine, and also Leatherneck Club Bro. And so as it's, it's not some crazy, $1 million piece. It's not what it matters. What matters is just it's a gift from bro to bro, and I love this thing. It's actually really, really sharp. The rubber strap's comfortable, depending on what I'm wearing and where I'm going and stuff. This definitely gets thrown on the wrist a lot. Moving around a little bit, one of my biggest dailies that I love wearing this watch. This is my Timex Expedition Field Chronograph. Right? Timex Expedition Field Chronograph. I love chronographs. I am a huge fan of them. I love that complication, and I use it. I honestly do use it, and I use it in the kitchen more than anything. I'm big on the grill. I'm big at timing my steaks. When I'm cooking, I like using the chronograph feature, and it really, it's fun. And yeah, there's times I sit there and I'll tinker with it, and I'll use the chronograph to time other things. And when I still lived in Arkansas and I'd be on duty, I would, roll around the clinics or whatever and time my rounds or whatever. But obviously I'm not into racing and having to get into finite details of timing and stuff. But for me also, what's great about this watch being that it is a quartz watch, when I go on a lot of trips, I do a lot of motorcycle trips around the nation. And when you have a quartz movement, you don't really have to worry about weights and balances and springs and stuff getting messed up from the vibration of the bike. So I love wearing this watch because, man, this thing's a savage, man. You can wear this thing. I've had it on during storms, super cold, hot. It didn't matter. This thing is if I'm going to pack one watch, period. If I'm packing one watch, I'm going to be gone for a week or two or just a weekend. I'm going to be riding around in possible bad weather and stuff like that. Timex, man, I'm a huge Timex guy. I've actually got 6 Timex watches, and I absolutely love and respect and honor that company, and I honestly don't believe they get enough respect in the watch world. So yeah, my Timex field chronograph. And of course I've got a lot of these have been gifted, and I'm truly honored. And this year my wife and I moved down to Florida just over a month ago and stuff. Moved down to Florida, and it was around my birthday time. And one of my best buddies, Brandon, back home in Arkansas, he's been a coaching buddy of mine. He helped me on my personal health and nutrition. He got me this watch as a gift, and this is a Timex Waterbury GMT that he gifted to me, that him and his kids got me for a parting gift, a going away gift, a thank you birthday gift, one of those type deals. Has that Coke bezel. Man, I put this thing on when I got it. Of course, I was honored, a friend to friend, when someone gives you a watch to, I instantly put this thingy on, and I just fell in love with it, man. The clicks, oh, nice and loud clicks. I like that. I wanted to mess with it. Of course, being a GMT hand, for those of you who don't know, all of my GMT watches, I actually set them for Rota, Spain time. My son is currently in the Navy, stationed in Rota, and so I set all of my GMT hands on Rota, Spain time, because when I wear it, anytime I look down, I can really get that connection a bit to my son overseas. I've never really used it for travel time, going back and forth between like Arizona or anything like that, but that's what it really connects for me. And so, but a wonderful, fantastic watch. I love this thing. When it comes, yet again, Timex watches, you just can't go wrong with them. Built tough. When they said, takes a lick and keeps on ticking, they definitely will, for sure. Love that watch. Last year, I made a trip to Arizona to spend time with my family at Christmas. My wife and I flew out there. I was in the mountains in Show Low, Arizona. And now, mind you, my parents, my mom and my stepdad had both had a lot of health issues last year. So take time when you have your family members around you and stuff, especially your senior adults, when they're going through stuff, just realize they're not going to be here forever. So we were in the mountains with my mom and my stepdad, and we went into this really cool shop called Helmet the Jeweler, and I spotted this Seiko. This is a SRP J45 Seiko in the turquoise. Now, some of you guys have watched my review of this watch, I bought this watch. I was looking at this one, and they had the root beer colored as well, but turquoise. If anybody knows anything about like Arizona, turquoise is really big. It's a reminder constantly of where I grew up, because I did grow up in Chandler and Mesa, Arizona. This really kind of wraps me back home, you know, from my youth. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful watch. It's not a full diver, but that's okay. I still have the bezel that I like to play with on here. It's a fun bezel. It's a stunning watch, truly. It really is a stunning watch. Date, 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock crown. Super comfortable. Love this watch. And again, I'm going to wear this watch, and every time I do, it just reminds me of my parents, and the realization that they're not going to be here forever. And it reminds me of that great time at that Christmas up in the mountains with my wife and my family and stuff. And so it's always going to be a near dear piece. And yes, absolute banger of a unit here. Few more to go on real quick. Like I said, wife and I moved down to Florida, and for months I'd been looking at this watch, and it's nothing insane. It's for a lot of people consider it entry level or inexpensive or anything. It's another quartz watch, but this is an Addiesdive. This is an Addiesdive chronograph, and when I bought this watch, you know, I'd actually looked at it for a few months online, and I buy watches with a mental picture of, one, where am I going to wear it? You know, when am I going to wear it? What does it mean? Does it have meaning? Is it going to mark an occasion? When I saw this, I was like, well, that's cool. That's a neat looking watch. I like it. Chronograph, baller, whatever. But knowing that we were moving to Florida, and so I ordered this, literally got it for my birthday. It was my birthday gift to myself. But it was also a celebration for me, knowing that we were moving down to Pensacola, the city that I've loved since the 1990s when I was stationed here. I saw this, and when I did, I thought, man, this is going to be the walking down the beach with my wife. This is the tacos and good times with her. And for anybody who knows me, my wife is the happy panda. She's my muse. She's my everything. And I always picture when I put on a watch, or I'm buying a watch, like, where am I going to wear that with her? Is it a fancy, nice dinner? Is it out on the beach? Is it, where is it? And when I saw this, I'm like, man, that is a beach watch. This is going to be killer in board shorts and hanging out, 100 meters of water resistance, so I can go surfing with this thing and not really worry about it. But it's an Addiesdive. Shoot, I think I paid under $70 for this thing online. They're on sale all the time on Amazon and stuff. But man, what a fun piece, and I really dig it. Last year I was Spinnaker and Islander teamed up to do this watch, and it's the Hull, and you can get the Hull chronograph. This was their collab, and they only did, I believe, 100 pieces on this. This is number 12 of 100. Yep, number 12 of 100. I did change out the strap on there, and I added a racing style strap. I did so because I was at my holy trinity of watches. There's 3 watches in my brain that I really want to own, that I call my holy trinity. First and foremost would be the Tag Heuer Monaco caliber 11, the original with the left side crown in the blue. That's And one night I was online cruising around, and I was on LongIslandWatch.com, and they had just released this, and they were doing limited numbers. And so if you look at that dial, the colors, it was a chronograph, and it was those blues and everything that really just smacked me in the face. I'm like, man, what a watch. Sure, it was on sale, but yeah, they did release this, and I was just in love, knowing that it just kind of gave me a little bit of that vibe of that tag. And for the record, the other two on that list are going to be the Grand Seiko Snowflake. Man, I want that watch. And the third would be a Omega, the Omega Ultra Deep. I've worn it, I've put it on, and I'm just madly in love with that watch. So those are my top three to round out. But the Islander, the original strap was really nice, but I wanted to go with that racing strap. Again, this is another quartz movement. So on the bike, yeah, this thing just sits at home, and man, I love this thing. It kind of quickly became like the Slickpits watch. You know, if I'm out and about, there's a lot of times you're going to catch me with this watch on. Man, it's just really amazing and a blast. I've got two left to show you guys today. Islander JFK GMT. This thing is just a beauty. I got this watch because I had started up the Dive Watch, this channel, and I'd started talking to different companies. And one of them I was able to speak to was Ryan over at Islander. He actually was the designer of this, which made it really more of a privilege. I purchased this watch. I wanted another nice GMT, and I wanted a Pepsi bezel. That was a big thing when I was actually searching for a Pepsi bezel, and instead of going all these other brands, Islander had this one, and man, even with the big crown on here that I really actually like. It's really easy to grip, and I can tell you when you go to mess with it, it's very substantial. You can feel the clicks, and it feels really good. And it's a true dive watch, and I plan on diving with it this year. I may change out the bracelet and go with a strap or something when I do dive, because I just had an incident the other day with with my Orient Ray 2 where it popped a thing. Okay, so but yeah, so I got with this, guys, because I wanted a Pepsi bezel. Always nice to have a Pepsi bezel in your collection, and what better way to go than I love micro brands and American brands. And so yeah, I went with that Islander, and the cloud bezel is absolute fire. Love this thing. So wrapping these up, I've got one watch left, which is actually my latest. This is another Timex, the Timex Expedition North Tide, Compass, and Temperature. Yeah. And that is that monster right there. Now, so I know it's kind of way different than a lot of those other watches that I've got. Big 45 millimeter and rubber strap. I bought this watch because this is the year that I am becoming a SDI dive master, and I've been working on my dive master certifications. I have taken on a role with H2O Below dive charters, and I will be doing a lot of deckhand work and stuff this year, and knowing that we live 12 minutes to the beach. I just thought when I ran across this, knowing the tide, having a compass, this is a real nautical watch. Something that I thought was going to be absolutely incredible when I got out. And of course, it's got a couple different colors, but I saw this one, and I'm like, man, how banging is this watch? This is going to be a daily tool for me. It was very purchased. I bought this really with that mentality of I'm going to wear this thing when I'm working. I'm going to be out on the boat. It's got that date window. The bezel, nice, easy slider. It doesn't click. It's got a slide bezel. And the functions on there, of course, like I said, I could wake up and know the tide. If I happen to be out on ship and need to know where, have a compass on wrist right then and there, it's right here. And it's a Timex, so I know it's going to be an absolute banger when I'm out there. Again, more and more props to Timex. Those guys are just tops. I wish they were all made in Waterbury. I think the last one of the last ones that was actually created and built up there was American Documents that they did a few years ago. And if anybody wants to gift me one of those, I would love to have one of those in my collection, or find one. But Timex, even with some of their higher end stuff, the Atelier, and those are just incredible watches being done by one of the oldest and greatest companies of watches, being Timex. So that is my current. Oh, did I forget one? I did forget one, guys. I forgot one, and this is the one that you guys just watched the other day. This would be the Shipwrecked Watch Company's Captain's Gilt watch. That is that beauty right there. So Andrew from Shipwrecked reached out to me one day on one of the social media channels, and said, "Hey, I would love for you to review my watch," and it literally took almost a month to get to me because of weather in Arkansas and rerouting and all this craziness had happened with this watch. But eventually it did arrive, and I wore this thing, and I've worn it and worn it and worn it and worn it, and I've reviewed it. You guys saw the video. You guys will know everything about it that I have experienced. But being one of my first review watches, not just a review watch, but a watch that really earned its place in my daily dozen box. The gilt dial, the screw down crown, the overall weight and feel of this watch, it just, some guys go, is that a fake sub? And no, it's not. It's there's 1,000,001 watches out there that people are just saying, oh, it's a sub, it's a fake sub. But it's got its own vibe, its own deal. It's not trying to be a Submariner. It's not even a dive watch. Technically, it's not a 200 meters or anything. It could be, and it should be. And I can tell you that Shipwrecked has more watches coming out that are ready for diving. But knowing that this was one of the first ones another company had trusted me with also just meant the world to me, and kind of has helped propel me through this journey. And knowing that it's been such a wonderful, substantial, and beautiful watch, I'm going to continue to keep this in my Dirty Dozen box. And yeah, so. That being said, I know I took up a little chunk of your morning. I thank you all very, very much for tuning in. I've got a lot more watches to talk about that go in depth with, and I've got some coming, and working with some other great creators out there. So thank you for tuning in. If you did like the content, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button at the very bottom, and keep tuning in right here at Dive Time Watch Reviews. I'm your buddy Slickpits, and I'll see you next time.